Alright lads, and welcome back to my last and final Mythic commentary video for Tomb of Sargeras. This time it's obviously going to be Kil'Jeaden. This is basically where I go over how I approach the fight from a progression standpoint as a Fury Warrior. Talent wise, I've decided to use War Machine, Double Time, Avatar, Bounding Stride, Frothing Berserker, Inner Rage and Reckless Abandon. So generally your single target lineup. I've gone with War Machine instead of Endless Rage because of the multitude of adds you get throughout the phases. And it's also fantastic for pushing the reflection adds on both occasions, as well as getting good uptime from the tank adds which spawn. Double time is obviously your stuns aren't going to be any use. Avatar single target. Bounding Stride you'll absolutely want. It means that you can leap out for every obelisk avoiding section, as well as it's obviously super handy for getting to the corners for the knockoffs. Then Frothing Berserker, Inner Rage, Reckless Abandon, and single target ones. There's nothing much more to say about them. Trinket selection, much like the rest of the tier, no real big change here. It's going to be Convergence of Fates and Umbral Moonglaves. Glaives, you can get good cleaves off of the reflection adds, the tank adds, and also the adds in the second intermission phase. They're all, if you got a mass grip, they're all clumped up and you just get massive damage. And then obviously Convergence of Fates, which is best in slot Trinket, and looks like it's going to be in Antorus as well, on the assumption that it doesn't get nerfed into the ground. Legendary selection, I've gone for Valajar Berserkers and the Angry Hat. The reason I'm not using the ring is because really you want to get as much damage onto those reflection adds as possible. Those are really the wipe criteria in the second phase, so having that extra rage just helps them push faster. I guess if you're struggling to get that last 20% over, then you could go ring, but chances are if you're struggling on the last 20%, it's typically due to raid movement and the like. And also with the ring, if you're prioritizing survival, especially when you first kill, you're not really going to be maintaining Juggernaut stacks. It's possible by all means, but me personally, I found that I would prefer to, drop stacks and survive and just be safe rather than try and, min-max and really push those kind of rank numbers that you might do on your farm kills. And sorry for the overlay of the stream again. I've had to rip it again from the VOD because I suck and I deleted the shadow play somehow. Right, enjoy. So, to begin with, we are going to be old warring, and we're just going to be popping Battle Cry. If you've got Bloodlust on pull, then you can afford to Battle Cry, and your Convergence of Fate should proc enough that you get it back for the reflection adds. You definitely want cooldowns back for the reflection adds. Sometimes it will come up halfway through them, sometimes you'll get really lucky, and it will be up immediately. Other times, it will be really late, but most of the time it's not really late. And you want to try and keep uptime on the boss early on, as to proc your Convergence enough times to get it back. So mine isn't quite back yet, so I'm just going to start deeping this in. It's one I got 10 seconds left on Battle Cry. Going to Avatar, because, you get it back for the last 10 seconds, and as soon as everything up's going to glaive those, Battle Cry, and actually Odin's Fury, and move to the next one, and then just start putting DPS through them, proccing War Machine as I go, and then avoiding the orbs. It is possible to avoid the orbs if you're dead in the center. It's tricky, takes a little bit of practice, but it can be done. The key to this fight is really keeping good uptime, soaking when you need to soak, and making sure you don't get knocked off. So you see everyone now moving here for the knockback, but obviously as a warrior you can just charge in, so there's absolutely no need for you ever to get knocked off. Moving to that soak to begin with, but then the tank took it, so, and then just getting some damage through the ad. You see Battle Cries come off cooldown, but I'm not going to use it yet. I'm going to wait for that cast to come in, get out of it, then move back in, Battle Cry, get a Raging Blow, Odin's Fury, and then just execute the rest of the ad. I know Enrage is dropped, but there's no, I've only got one GCD left on the ad, so you might as well execute and not Bloodthirst, because there's nothing to do afterwards, and execute does more damage. Bit more damage on him whilst he's in the air, and now it's just a case of keeping spread out, soaking where you need to soak. Now with Leap in these phases, this first intermission, I found that you do not want to use it on the first one, because this is an easy one to get to, you're in no danger, whereas the next time you need to get to a knockback is straight after an Armageddon, so there's less time and you just want to get there as soon as possible. So this one, there's Dread Flames and then knockback straight away. You don't know where it is, so best to save a leap for that one. On that occasion I didn't have to use it, but I had it just in case it spawned on the opposite side and I happened to be in a bad position. Now there's nothing really to go over in this part, apart from obviously just not getting knocked off. On the occasions when there's 4 knockbacks in a row, you can actually work out very easily where you need to move next. Obviously it's not going to spawn from where you've come from, it's not going to spawn from where you're going. You've only got 2 locations where it's going to spawn from. So you just look at one of them, and if it's not there as soon as you get knocked back, you know it's the opposite side. So just trying to find somewhere to soak, but there's nothing, and we've got a design team to soak the beams, and I've just looked at that one just to get it done and safe, and look for the next direction, which is left, and then middle. But actually, I like to position myself a little bit off center, so when the dread flames come in, I'm already partially spread. I'm going to stay out of melee range to charge in and drop my glaives and rampage there into my cooldowns. You know, pop all your cooldowns as soon as he lands, because it's key that you get them back up for certain points in the fight. But now we're in phase 2, I'm going to be highly prioritizing soaking over damage, really. You can maintain good damage whilst doing the soaking, especially if you've got a raid team that will make sure they prioritize soaking if they haven't got a stack. So again, everyone's got a knockback, the rest of the raid can deal with the knockback, you can just warrior life and use charge, staying out of the way of the beam. I'm going to be using Battle Cry as soon as it comes off cooldown here, but I'm going to save my racial for a more important moment. No, I'm not. I'm going to use it there, apparently. Sometimes you can get quite a nice Odin's Champions proc there, so if you've got the extra haste from your Berserking buff, then you can get one more reset. On that one I had the Explosive and the Armageddon, so what I've done is I've just popped Endless Rage to make sure I don't die. Now, this ad the raid can typically deal with. Sometimes you get enough Odin's Champions procs to use Avatar on it. My other cooldowns apart from Avatar have come up, however I'm going to save them, and then when Avatar's up I'm going to use them. But I'm not going to bother waiting for glaives because it's just too long. If you delay these too long, then your Avatar and such isn't going to be back for the next set of reflection ads, which is where you'll do massive amounts of damage, and they are so key to this phase 2. So I've got 2 dots there, so I'm just going to stay on the boss because everyone else should soak and you can't really get 3. And the reason why I've saved glaives is because I prefer to use them on the next tank ad, because if you save them for a later stage, so the reflection ads for example is where you'd next want to use them, you won't have them back for the dark intermission phase, which is where glaives are really going to shine. So I know the tank's going to move the ad to that position because we've done this so many times, so I'm going to drop my glaives early, pop cooldowns, get Odin's Fury on the boss and the ad, which is obviously good value for that. Making sure I soak though. And then just moving back to the ad to finish it off. Obviously you're getting War Machine off all these ads, which is great. Can't say no to 15% haste. And again, you can just charge back to the boss, and if you get the Dread Flames on those, you can just leap to the opposite side because you've got it saved still. At this point, there's very little reason to save leap for anything. You can use it to get to soaks and the like without fear of being knocked off again. As long as you're in boss range, you're never going to get knocked off. So I'm saved cooldowns for this moment basically, so I've got everything apart from glaives, but that's not the end of the world. You're only cleaving 1 target. So this is where I also take my second pot, my Old War. I've just stepped back there to try and cleave the other ads. You can actually cleave all 3 if you get your positioning right, but you kind of lose a couple of GCDs on your main target. So I decided that the priority target would be better to kill rather than trying to get cleave onto all of them. Again, making sure to dodge the orbs and just keep that uptime going. Now at this point, it depends on your guild's DPS. Ours is quite high, so we have to wait a long time. If you've still, you're like 48, 49, 50%, you can afford to battle cry there. Probably just solo battle cry, and you will have it back for the dark intermission phase. I'm just trying to get a couple of rampages off to try and get Odin's Champions procs for Avatar, as obviously I really want it for the intermission phases, because we've got a Blood Decay, we'll group all the ads, and that's where you want to get your massive AoE and cleave off. So it looks like it's going to be very close to whether I'm going to get it back off or not. I can't quite remember if I actually do. I think it's very close if I remember. I have to pop Battle Cry, wait a second or 2, and then Avatar afterwards. So just getting them gripped in. Just trying to keep uptime on the boss. Yeah, so I've got 8 seconds left, which is a little bit annoying. So I'm going to get a couple of whirlwinds off, drop my glaives, battle cry, and then you got 2 seconds before avatars popped. And I actually did miss the avatar buffed Odin's Fury, which is a big loss of damage, which is unfortunate, but 9 times out of 10 your avatar is reset for that point. Just going to charge straight back in because I know the healer's going to come and drop the shields and whatnot. Now this phase you can keep Juggernaut up if you stay on the boss till the very last moment and really use your leaps to get to the marks, but I decided that I would prioritize staying alive. We'd wiped here a lot of times, I'd been out of position a couple of times, and I just felt like I'd be safer surviving and then doing more damage rather than trying to keep one stack of Juggernaut and wiping. And you're pretty free to use your cooldowns as and when. Just keeping an eye on where that orb's going to make sure it doesn't come through us, or through me, I should say. Not soaking the orb because you have, sorry, not soaking the beam because we have set people to do that. I'm really just trying to do as much damage as I can to the boss. We've already potted in the last phases. Again, CD's coming off. I'm just going to use them straight away. Don't want to waste any time. And Avatar will be back for the next battle cry, which could possibly be sub 20, but I can't quite remember. So again, moving to Skull, make sure that orb's way far from me. So just keeping the uptime, keep the damage going, hoping for those conversions procs. Not a lot really happens here. If you get the Dread Flames on you, at this point, if the fire wasn't there, you could definitely stay on the boss, and we did on previous tries. However, this time there's fire over there, so I didn't bother stressing the healers and taking ticking damage. I just went to the soak spot early. Now cooldowns are back off, so I'm gonna pop them just as he's coming up to 20%, and just start hammering home those heavy executes with Avatar. The reason why I'm not trying to min-max it too much by, you know, maybe battle crying and then avataring later is because we've got 2 minutes left, and I reckon I could get another avatar if the fight goes on much longer. So again, just fortunately the skull marker was put on us, so I managed to keep Juggernaut rolling, which was handy. And we've got a battle cry coming off cooldown soon. Got cleaved once, but one cleave doesn't really matter. So there we go, I've got my battle cry back. I'm just going to use it straight away. Had to go out of melee range there fractionally just to dodge the orb. But it's quite nice. We've got 24 stacks at the moment, which is pretty good for this kind of pull. I think I am going to drop them now because Skull's quite far away. I'm just going to get nice and safe. This is just to bait the orb first. Orb's baited, get onto Skull. And it does hit us here. And I'm trying to avoid the fire, but by the end of it, I think actually it's just quicker to run through it, pop a health potion, charge back in, and just start executing again. So just keep going, and at this point it's pretty much a kill. There's nothing really more to do or say. I'm going to save battle cry for after we come out of the rift, because Avatar's going to be ready. Going to drop glaives, not bother waiting a second, because at this point there's nothing else to do apart from just hammer home the damage with the executes. So it was a relatively clean kill in the end. It's quite good. I actually finished quite high on the damage, 1.22 by the looks of it. Definitely could have been higher if I hadn't have messed up my Odin's Fury with it not having Avatar. But not the end of the world, pretty good in terms of the raid. So, I hope you enjoyed that. Main things to pick up is that you do not have to move for the knockbacks, you can always just charge, save leap for the dangerous situations or if you need to get to a soak. Make sure you've got cooldowns for both set of reflection adds as well as the phase 2 transitions, and always try and battle cry and get an Odin's Fury when the tank ad and the boss are near each other. And obviously try and maintain Juggernaut stacks in phase 3, but not critical I don't think, and your survival is more important than execute damage. But I will now see you in Antorus. My plan for Antorus is to do the heroic ones. Possibly each heroic kill is going to be a lot shorter, you know, just main points. And then again, I'll do the mythic kills. But until then, I will see you. Cheers. You can also catch me on my stream on Coburn_25. Nice one.